Hi, boys and girls. Today we are going to continue finding the area and perimeter of a rectangle. At your working space, wherever you're working, I'd like you to, you could take out a Post-it note, a piece of paper, something, and on that paper, I just want you to write down those formulas that we've been working on for area and perimeter. So for example, we know area is length times width. So on your Post-it note or your index card, write yourself a little note that area equals length times width. And then for perimeter, now there's multiple ways you can find perimeter. Remember we talked about you could just simply add up all the sides. So if we were talking about a regular polygon, you would just add up those four sides. So perimeter equals side plus side plus side plus side, or perimeter would equal 2 times length plus width. So you could do this as well. Completely up to you, but I like during math class, maybe just take it out, set it down next to you. So you have like a kind of little cheat sheet for you to remember, how do I find the area? How do I find the perimeter? So again, you have the formulas and you set it down in your workspace. All right, let's get started. Just a reminder, if you are someone at home, that the Ice Cream Sundae Challenge ends January 28th. If you're at home, I'm going to give you like a gift card or something so you can get your ice cream sundae on your own time. Thanks for working hard. I think that's a big deal, so you should be proud of yourselves. My question for you is, how do we find the area of a regular polygon? Remember, when we hear that word polygon, it's just a fancy word for shape. So polygon, shape. And if you didn't know, you had your cheat sheet right next to you, and you could simply say, hey, Mrs. Andrews, to find the area of a regular polygon, I would take the length and the width, and I would multiply it. That's how you find the area of a regular polygon. Now, how do we find the perimeter of a regular polygon? So remember, we talked about there's multiple ways. One way is to simply add up all those sides. Another way, because we know regular polygons have the same sides, opposite sides are equal. So we would do 2 times length plus width. Okay, so that's for perimeter. If you want to take a screenshot of that or something, just so you have it to refer back to. All right, let's dive into practicing some of these. You guys did really great yesterday with your exit tickets, so kudos to you. Just a reminder, we need to have those labels. We talked about how important it is to label things, so don't forget to have your label. Okay, here we go. Determine the perimeter and area of rectangles A and B. So first, we don't have any measurements here. So what we're going to have to do is we're going to have to find our measurements of the length and the width. Now remember, if for some reason you forget and you say, oh, is this the length or is this the width, and you don't remember, that's okay. As long as you have these and you have your numbers in there, it will work. So don't panic. The length, okay, the length, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 units, because they didn't tell us a unit. So if they don't tell us centimeters or miles or whatever, then we just say units. So that's 8 units, and my width is 5 units. So I'm going to write 5 units. Now, one strategy for area is I can simply sit here and say 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, 40. I could have counted up all those perfect squares. Or we can do our formula, length times width. Our length was 8 units, our width was 5 units, giving us an area of 40 units squared. Or remember, you can say 40 squared units. Then when you find the perimeter, I do like to see whatever formula you're doing. So if you're adding up the sides, which is fine with me, I just need to see your work for that. So for example, in this case, we had 8 plus 8 plus 5 plus 5. So really that is 16 plus 10, and the perimeter would be 26 units. Okay, so you just need to show that. What I want you to do is I want you to pause your video and I want you to try B. Remember, they didn't give you any of the lengths or the widths, so you'll have to take a minute to find those out. All right, ladies and gentlemen, if you take a second to check this out, you'll see that I had to find my length, I had to find my width, I multiplied them for my area, and I had an area of 35 squared units, or you could have said 35 units squared. Down here, I just added up the sides. It was easier for me to do. So I showed my work. I showed my formula first, which are the steps. Then I showed what those sides equaled. So I had 5 and I had 5. I had 7 and I had 7. I showed what they were. I added them up and I got 24 units for my perimeter, or my distance around a closed figure. Okay? Awesome job. If you have questions, now is your time to stop. Ask me, email me, write me a message. We're going to keep moving because you guys are doing great with area and perimeter. Determine the perimeter and area of each rectangle. So here's our polygon. They did give us the measurements. I want you to take a minute and look. Our label is centimeters. So make sure when you're answering, your label is in centimeters. Why don't you pause your video and just start with the perimeter first. I'm going to show you when you come back both ways that you could have found the perimeter. The one with the formula using side plus side plus side plus side. And then I'll show you 2 times length plus width. All right, pause your video and try to find that perimeter. All right, friends, if you could look below, I did solve the perimeter, the distance around a closed figure, 2 different ways. The first formula I tried was just simply adding up all 4 sides. So I had 7 and 7, 3 and 3. I added them up and I had perimeter equals 20 centimeters. Then I showed you the other formula, which is taking the length plus the width, the length plus the width, and multiplying it by 2 because we had 2 sides, well, 4 sides, the length and the width and the length and the width, and we put them together. So I showed you both strategies. Do whatever works for you, okay? I don't want you to feel like you have to choose one. Now I want you to pause your video and try to find the area. The area. This one, you can't count up those squares because there's no squares. Go ahead, guys. Try it and then check back. All right, when you took your length and you multiplied it by your width, 7 times 3 is 21 centimeters. But remember, we're talking about those 2 dimensions, so it's squared centimeters or centimeters squared. Notice I have my formula or my steps, my work, and my answer. Okay, nice and neat, lined it all up. This is your way of showing your work. We're eventually going to start working with bigger numbers, not just 7 times 3. So the more organized and neat that you are, the more beneficial it will be for you. All right, I want you to go ahead and try the next one and then check back with me. Thanks, guys. Your next question was 9 times 4. So for the area, if you solved this correctly, you should have had 36 centimeters squared or squared centimeters. And if you, sorry, I can't talk. If you found the perimeter correctly, you did 2 different ways. You could have done 4 plus 4, which is 8, and 9 and 9, which is 18. So 18 plus 8 would be 26. Or you could have multiplied 13 times 2, either one. And that was just centimeters, okay? We're going to try a word problem now. Hopefully you follow the steps of doing some roadblocks, underlining some important information. Let's read it together. Teddy's garden is 12 feet wide and 18 feet long. How much fencing does he need to put around his garden? Keyword around. So automatically you should know, are we finding the area or the perimeter if we're doing the distance around something? Hopefully in your head you're saying, hey, I need to find the perimeter, the distance around it. One strategy you could do is just simply adding up all the sides. Another strategy you could have done was taking 2 times length plus width, your choice. I'm going to pause your video, try it out. Notice our numbers are a little bigger this time, and check back with me. Thanks. All right, friends, you'll notice that as I solved this, I had a roadblock, I underlined my question, and I showed my work. I used the length times width times 2 formula, and when I added my length and my width, I got 30. I multiplied that times 2, which was 60. Sorry, my word didn't fit there, so it got cut off. Teddy needed 60 feet of fencing to go around his garden. Notice when I wrote my complete sentence, started with a capital, I ended with a period. Nice job, guys. All right, we have one more. This one we started yesterday where they give us the area, but we need to find that unknown side. So in this case, you don't have to do B. I'll cross that off for you because we did that yesterday as our exit ticket. But I want you to try A. We already know that area means length times width. So if we already know the area is 60 square centimeters and we know the length is 6, how do we find that missing side of x? Okay, so I want you to think about an inverse operation here. Try it and then check back with me, okay? All right, my friends. So you should have probably divided, or you could have said something times 6 equals 60. So if you know your multiplication facts, probably would have been easy for you. And you got 10 centimeters for the width of this missing side. Okay, so what I'd like you to do now is I would like you, if you're at home, you're going to email me this. What is the formula or the steps we take to find the area of a rectangle? And what is the formula to find the perimeter of a rectangle? If you're in your classroom, you're just going to hold it up and show your teacher. This is kind of like your exit ticket, just to see what you know. Thanks for working hard, friends, on area and perimeter, and I will see you tomorrow.